There's four of us.
Okay, it is 5:30 p.m. on May 9th, 2023. I call this regular town board meeting of the town of Oak Point to order. With roll call, Mike Anderson.
Here.
Amy Baxter.
Here.
Susan Brennan.
Here.
Nancy Dobson.
Here.
And Glenn Carlson here. We also have our town clerk, Kayla Montaigne, our town administrator, Kuka, our public works director, Ben Schramm, guests, and we now move into public comment. Is there any public comment of 1 minute or less? Okay, well, I do have a public comment. It was brought to my attention a week or so ago that there was a phrase in the budget book. The goal of the town hall department was to actively work to reverse the formula required under the accommodations tax, so municipalities, not tourism bureaus, get the majority of the revenue. I have to confess that I had not seen that. If I had, I didn't think much of it, but the fact is the town board has not undertaken any effort to try to get the formula for accommodation taxes reversed. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not a priority or something that we should work on. So apologies to the chamber if they thought that this was something that was a town policy, but it's not. So.
I agree with that.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, any other public comment? Moving right along, administrative reports, town administrators report. So anyone have comments or questions for Michael? Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Some of it is later on in the agenda, we can talk about then. But like with the police department getting rid of that car, you know, the county owns half the car.
No, not on the title.
Is that how we're gonna do it?
I believe that's how it's been done in the past, and that's how we're gonna do it.
Well, we did it both ways in the past. I'm just throwing it out there that they pay for half the car.
Town policy is that, equipment should be offered by the departments, and if not, then it should be sold for auction. Obviously, it's your decision as to whether you wanna split proceeds or not, but.
Wow.
And the agreement is over. We don't have it.
We've done it both ways in the past.
But we always had an agreement. Right?
Well,
Now we don't. Anyhow,
I'm just
go ahead.
And then back to the fire, the very last paragraph of the fire department.
Yeah.
So that it's about $7,500, and it's just because wasn't turned in or something, turned in late.
It was turned in late, and so the state considered it failed on it.
That was the chief? The attorney's member?
There were several members who had different parts of the records that are required for that audit. But ultimately, it's his responsibility.
Did you ask them to let you know when they were turning them in? I mean, did you know it was late?
Nope,
Okay, so,
we knew that the state needed to have, the state PSPS needed to have the audit completed by the end of April. They came in and talked with town hall staff and with me about getting the material scanned so it could be sent to DSPS so the auditor could have all the documents to audit. And they did not get everything to us in time for us to get it to the department in time.
they did not mean the fire department?
The fire department.
Like,
I guess my point is that I'm not trying to find out who, you know, did or didn't do it, is that it doesn't happen again. It's $7,500 that we could use for other projects, you know, or they could use for.
Absolutely, and I have
Right, so
not,
no,
I have not examined as to where the failure is. but it was clearly a failure.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We can't afford to continue to lose that kind of money.
Right, okay. That was pretty much what I wanted to say.
Okay, any other?
I was just wondering how the Chefs Expo expects to put a tent on cement.
Well, Yes.
They've changed their mind, they're putting it back, somewhere behind.
Okay,
So it's supposed to be pulled from the agenda when it gets to it, so
okay,
yes. But I believe to your answer, they were just gonna use concrete weights and tie the tent
Oh,
to
okay.
that, so it would not be staked into the street.
okay.
So,
I got my questions, thank you.
okay, any update on the AV equipment installation?
The electricians are supposed to be here Thursday and Friday. We've notified the installers of that fact, and they're attempting to schedule their crews for some time in the next few weeks.
Our electricians will be able to work independently from the installers. I mean,
They
don't
have to have, the electrical work has to be installed before the installers can come in and mount the equipment.
Thanks.
And then I have another question, and it goes back to the same question I've had for 2 previous meetings, about making it where people can pay the airport thing with credit card or PayPal or something.
We're trying to see if we can make it work.
What's the holdup?
We're not financial experts, and so we need to figure out how to make a connection so that someone at the airport can scan a code that will get them to the correct part of PayPal with a price that they can pay. And I started working on that and haven't made it work yet, so.
Okay, I just was
Yeah,
following up on it.
it's basically trial and error.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Any other questions? Moving on, Public Works Director's Report. Questions for Ben? Go ahead, Mike.
just remember when Paul Getch was the town foreman, the public works director, whatever he was, and he told us that he started that program when you guys replaced culverts. Are you still using that same program?
We've adapted to a similar.
Because I guess my question is, there's probably not too many galvanized culverts left, is there?
I would say there is a lot.
Oh,
But
really?
I can't give you a number.
So they're still, because they were failing, yeah.
They're all coming around their life cycle in the iron in the water, it's rotting the bottoms out, as anyone can see, you drive by the ones that are pulled out. There's-
But every time you put new ones in, they're plastic.
Correct.
So, okay.
So yes, the database is being maintained a different way, so every new one is recorded every time.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ben?
Oh, do we have less hours for, parks crew? Is that why the cemetery is getting cleaned by somebody?
No, the hours are the same, but the person that's going to be hired to take the place of the person who was cleaning the chapel for the last 3 years is going to spend more time labeling material and work.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Ben.
Do you think that you'll have the, in-town public restrooms open for the marathon?
They are all open now.
Oh, they are?
Except for Joni's Beach, which will be by this weekend.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ben? Okay, thank you, Ben. Moving on, MERV Supervisor's Report. Questions, comments on Marty's report? And don't leave milk in your containers when you're talking about MERV. Come on, people.
Gross.
Yes. Okay, airport manager's report and checklist. Okay, planning and zoning administrator's report. Okay, accounting administrators. Oh, sorry, on the planning and zoning, I did notice a name that's misspelled on there. Someone can get that to accounting administrator's report.
Well, more of a statement. Now, someday Barbara will leave. So are we gonna, are you meeting with her, gonna say before she leaves, is somebody gonna ask her that, you know, what do we need to know? Because we don't know nothing. I mean, we don't know anything, all she does, what she does back there. Are you doing that?
Well, part of that is why we have a payroll coordinator to take those duties off.
But that's just
Part of it, and the goal has been, the timetable has been to hire someone by June so they can get several months worth of training.
and that's not going well.
That's not going well, which is why Plan B is we are meeting with a CPA firm to see if we can arrange with them to be doing our accounting at least for an interim. You know, we're working on it. We've been told that finding financial officers for municipal positions is the hardest thing in the state to do. So we're trying to do it, and we're trying to make sure that whoever comes on is able to succeed and not, you know, not leave the town in the lurch. And Barb has no intention of leaving the town in the lurch, but
Unless
we
we
want her to
want
retire. So,
Well, when some days she's gonna walk up that door and if we stand here with our thumbs, you know, where we're gonna be going, you know, gee, we don't know. We just talked, Glenn and I talked about it. We got some stuff, well, it's gonna happen. I mean, when it happens, you wanna be prepared. So,
gotta find someone who wants the job
I
first.
know, it's not easy.
Okay, any other
Qualified
questions?
who wants to.
Yes, any other questions or comments on Barb's report? I told Mike he was gonna,
Yeah.
we're both hired, yeah. Okay, police chief's report.
What's Proch?
Oh. My guess would be property check, is that
I'm sorry, Robert.
CH?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in the back.
And what does that mean?
just if somebody calls up and says, or, you know, it could mean anything. If you notice something out of place, and then you're like, hey, wait a minute, no, yesterday that wasn't like that. It might be, maybe a bear did it, maybe somebody broke in.
Property check.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments on the police chief's report? Fire chief's report? And I do have another name that was misspelled. Any other questions on the fire chief's report? Ambulance director's report? Okay, is there unanimous consent to place the reports on file? Okay. Moving on, Public Works, Roads, Dock and Harbor, item 1, is moot points, they've withdrawn their request, so I think we can just move on. Item B, Parks, Big Bay Town Park Accessibility Feasibility Study. Everyone's received their book, their extensive descriptions of the 4 different options that they had. I think, Michael, the numbers in Michael's report are
Double counting the
Double
cost of the
counting.
bridge. So
The
you can
bridge.
subtract $800,000 roughly from.
what's in
my
his report.
reports.
But what's in this report is, so they, yeah, during the drafts, they didn't include that cost in their drafts, and then they stuck it in on the last one, and so it's like, oh, thank you. And I don't know that we really need to take any action, there is no action for us to take, we don't have the money to do this at this point, but we do now have the study, and we can start shopping this for grants, and
I think, what would be good for the town board to give advice as to whether you have a preferred option of those 4 options. That
Well,
will help us, you know, if we go looking for, money to identify a specific option.
what I got out of reading through this was that number 1 is the nicest one, but it's also the most expensive one. And anytime it's more aesthetically pleasing, it's more expensive.
Mhm.
That's what I got out of it. And number one is the nicer one, but it's the more expensive one. And Arnie's alternative is land swap, and then the less expensive one, the least expensive one, but, it's not very aesthetically. And as far as, in all the paragraphs in here, they talk about being able to view when the people are walking down the beach, and you can see the view of the lake. Well, to me, your object is to get to the beach, and then have do what you're gonna do. And if you wanna stay up there and look at the view of the lake, then stay up in the, when you're walking down there, you should be looking where you're walking. They keep it all the way through here, every paragraph talks about.
Yeah, I think your point is that, so with the elevated structure, you'll have a complete view of the lake. Some of them are trenches, you're gonna see nothing but.
Yes, yeah, that's what I guess what I'm trying to
And
get at.
one of them is sort of a wall on one side and it's daylighted on the other. So I think your general summary is correct. You're paying for a view.
Yeah,
But, if the trench, we don't know how it's gonna look until we start doing 3D renderings or something, so.
So something out there, just a question that I've wondered for a lot of years, and I probably should be looking this direction. Is there any way that we can connect the boardwalk? Because I know that they can get down to handicapped people can get to the state park beach. Is there, because there's where the two boardwalks, maybe we should be looking at connecting the boardwalks.
It's all on state land, so it would be, they're not willing to do that or spend the money on that, so that would be a considerable amount of money and permission from them to do that.
Okay, but it is something that we could find out, and, even if we had to pay for it, and it was a lot cheaper than, it's just something I thought of.
Any other comments? on the report?
I like number one, because I like looking around. I go where I go.
What should be where
The world. And the Keystone Trust, I think it's much prettier.
it is.
And I think that if we send that to the grant people and we don't get enough money, then we can go with the cheaper options. But send the most expensive one when we're trying to get the grants, I think.
my other question is, what, I couldn't find it in there, they show in those drawings, like, that new, number one alternative, they have the new way to get to the beach. So what happens to the existing one? Will they get torn out and destroyed, or, okay.
And what about, does any of this take out the stonework at the top?
And where?
Oh,
All of Tim's work? All that's the bench.
The memorial bench, the circular memorial bench, no,
None of it touches that.
that stays.
it's well below that.
Okay, so, how about we think about this as sort of a first meeting, and everyone come back to our next meeting with your preferred, approach, and does that work, Michael? and
Oh,
Ben,
absolutely.
for your, okay.
And just for the record, we did put in a request for congressionally directed spending for this project. We have not heard one way or the other whether it's survived.
And if I recall, you had a pretty good price tag in there for that.
We did.
Okay, so that would cover probably the number one, the first one, if we got that. Okay.
That'd be
Probably with the fancy bridge.
Right. Okay, does anyone else have anything further to add on this? Okey-doke, moving on. Item 3C, Greenwood Cemetery, request proposals for chapel cleaning. And I think, if you don't know, when the Michaels paid for that chapel to be constructed, they also made a donation, I think it was $100,000 to the Apostle Allen's Area Community Fund to generate $4,000 to $5,000 a year of income to provide maintenance of the chapel. And so this would come out of that fund. We have a designated fund that we put that money every year, so this would come out of that. So we are looking for approval to send out a request for proposals.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request for proposal for the chapel cleaning.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any conversation, discussion?
Will this fall under Ben's, I mean, would they work under the public works director?
I would assume
Yes,
so.
and we would assist with the spring cleaning and, shrink wrap if Michael's desire that.
So I mean, if somebody applies for this job, would it just be that, cleaning the chapel 2 hours a week, and then that's it?
This is probably a contractor we're looking for, or like an independent cleaning service, not an employee.
Correct, but they would still have to, you know, just
Work.
let us know,
Yeah.
we will communicate with them,
You'd supervise them like,
like where you cut in grass.
any other questions? Comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, planning and zoning. Nothing particular under that, other than item B, zoning board of appeals. We have a resignation of Dale Whitaker, who was appointed to the TPC. And then we need to, and it says appoint new member, but what we need to do is to approve posting. We do have one person who's already applied, but we do need to post this, and I propose that we post it for a week.
We could be a little over a week, we can post tomorrow, just for the next meeting.
Yeah, so that we can have them for the next meeting. Okay,
Is this the same, you appoint them and we ratify it?
think so for the zoning board of appeals. I'm not 100% sure, but,
I believe it's just the chairman that you appoint.
okay. Okay, thanks, Paul. So is there a motion to, I guess we have first to accept the resignation? We need to do that, accept Dale Whitaker's resignation.
I'll make a motion to accept Dale Whitaker's resignation.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next, is there a motion to post for a new member for the zoning board of appeals as well? Are we needing to post for alternates as well? Should we post at the same time or, okay?
Certainly would help.
Okay,
Yeah,
so let's, I think we've got 2 alternates.
Correct.
So let's, if we can have a motion to post for both a new member and alternates for the zoning board of appeals for through Thursday, a week from Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 18th,
Yeah.
so through the 18th.
I'll make a motion to approve the posting for the Board of Appeals, 2 alternates and the new member for May, through May 18th.
Mhm. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded.
We'll give it to Sam.
Get her on the board. Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, and you've got a memo from Michael Gupta, as well as a list of recommendations from the committee, and we have Katie Sanders, who chair here with us, if people have any questions, and Mark Hess is on the committee as well, and Jim Peters. Is everyone here on the committee? No? Okay. So, does anyone have any discussion or comments on the requests?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Where the parcel is located, are the people who are adjacent to this parcel aware that this is being proposed?
There's only one private property owner.
Yeah, and they're kind of around, so I was just curious if that one person family was in the loop.
I have not contacted them, so chances
They,
are.
they were contacted several months ago, but not in regard to this parcel being offered for development, no.
Is that something we could do, just to, full disclosure?
Well, wouldn't it have to be done, like, if we approved it, then it would have to be done with zoning, who knows zoning?
If so, right,
300 feet, within 300 feet. I mean, you just follow, I mean, I don't think anybody should get special preference, just follow what the rules are for zoning.
so I think the main concern of presenting a piece of property is for the next stage, you know, as somebody is sort of trying to get their head around, so what could we build here? If we had an actual piece of property to offer, that would be helpful, as opposed to, well, we've got this place somewhere on the island, what do you think? And so, so that's fair.
And just so everyone knows, the parcel is the parcel on the corner of Big Bay and Rice Street. It is the parcel that includes the Big Bay entrance to Capser Trail. But the town has, is it 40 acres there? So there's a lot of acreage there, and the Capser Trail kind of angles just kind of through part of it. The bulk of it is not anywhere near the trail or visible.
The parcel listed in his recommendation is not that parcel.
That's, it was correct there.
It was,
The first one was up at Sun Slope and that.
right,
Yeah, that
and I
was.
got this map for the.
Then we got corrected one.
Oh, I don't have it. Oh, it's on the back, yeah, I just saw the map, not correct.
Yeah, so that's, so we're not at this point, and I think that, you know, there'd be many steps before the town actually said, yes, you can use this property for this, but it's more for a hypothetical and for them to have sort of a better idea of what's possible.
For an RFP, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think it meets a lot of the criteria that they were looking for, though, because it's definitely walking distance to even the ferry,
On the
walking
cemetery district.
distance, you know, so that property
Those are the
meets,
major concerns, yeah.
meets a lot of that.
I think some of the concern, I mean, this, I don't want to get too.
There's somebody that owns a 100-foot strip right off of Rice Street.
The Bormans, that they
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
like pine or whatever.
All, the same.
Is, I mean, while that is a big piece of land, you know, what is truly buildable is less than the 20 acres or 40 acres.
Okay, so, that is a question on the town-owned land.
Can I just clarify a statement that was made?
Go.
This property is not on the sanitary district, but there is a connection at the intersection of Big Bay and Rice Street where it could be connected.
Got it. Pretty close. Okay.
The fire hall's in the sanitary district.
That line goes through the woods.
We've got an expert here.
Yes, we do.
Well, the fire department's not farther,
Yeah.
never mind.
Unless you wanna build back where Julie Schmidt lives, I mean.
Okay, thank you. So, you've got a request for proposals for a developer. Do you have an actual request for proposal that you want us to approve? Or, I mean, what are you going to request in your request for proposals?
After you've had time to look over the report, you see the volume of housing that is being suggested.
Right.
And so, as everyone is sort of aware that it would have been, we're behind. The sooner we can get going on breaking ground and moving into actually building housing, which is what the committee exists for and is anxious and excited to do, that's what we're aiming for. So we would like to move into.
So for all 46 units, you're gonna ask them to do an RFP to do 46 units?
I don't know that, I think what we're going to say is, how would you start this? I don't think it's with all 46.
So no, I mean, that's why it says first tranche. I mean, we have to, if this is the parcel we are gonna use, this would be the RFP we put out. we have a town parcel that is available for development. So we would put out an RFP, developers would examine the parcel, decide how many units would fit there. Given the priorities that have been discussed in the committee and in the town board, this would be rental, presumably. We haven't written an RFP yet. Not really gonna do that until we have the approval from the town board that we write an RFP for a specific property and get developers interested and see what can be developed. The reality is 46 acres or 46 units, or 30 units or whatever, are not gonna fit. 30 units is what we're looking at. 30 units are not gonna fit on this parcel without massive changes to zoning.
Okay.
And it's not the kind of development the committee wants or the town wants. So whether there's additional land behind this, rough configuration of 2.5 or 2.75 acres, a developer could determine that.
I understand.
So we need to get started. So we need to start drafting and, we can do some rough calculations based on current zoning ordinance, how many units could fit there. So we'll probably throw that in as, in the RFP. The developer would tell us what's feasible and what is not feasible from a financial and development perspective, and then we assess what if we get anything and where we can move forward. The reality is that we may need to take different approaches. We may need to swap town land for private land that's more developable, more space. We may need to sell town land, buy private land. We may look at all kinds of options, but
This is basically to get the ball rolling.
absolutely get the ball rolling. Everybody wanted to get the research done on the needs assessment. We have that. So committee's trying to take.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for proposals for the housing committee to get the ball rolling.
Okay, is there an understanding that the committee will bring the RFP to the town board before it's actually sent out?
Can't spend money without you, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Has anybody talked to the, business owners about these 16 units that are for seasonal?
That's our initial survey.
Because wasn't Hartsel planning on building at least 16 units in Waynesboro?
The Hartsel proposal is an expandable condominium for seasonal cabins. The committee members have had discussion with him about whether he's interested in using that development to build affordable housing. He has not. He has said he might be interested in offering other land nearby for affordable housing. So his current proposal has nothing to do with affordable housing or seasonal housing. And the committee has been told that their priority is year-round housing. I think now that this study has shown a need for 16 seasonal units, I think that's another step that someone will take, whether it's a committee or business community on its own, but we haven't done that for right now.
I had just heard a couple of his employees talking about they were gonna move into those units, so I thought he was making.
Yeah, I think last summer there, at some point he had said that.
Yeah.
All these had out there are campers.
And so this first tranche would not be those seasonal residences in any case.
That
Is
was
that
the year-round.
year-round rentals? Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? And this is specifically for approving the RFP development. Right. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. As far as the other, making town land available, I think that's more of a consensus thing. Is there a consensus that we're agreeable to that parcel being considered? Okay, it sounds like that's a yes. And as far as zoning modifications, My comment would be, well, that's a TPC thing to start with. But, you know, I think it's really important that we have accessible housing, so. Okay, anything else for anybody to, comment on this? No? Okay, thank you, committee. Next is the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, and they have asked for an extension until September 30th to finish their work. I asked for, and I'm going to be speaking to the committee Thursday to let them know that we will extend this and offer them our gratitude and our encouragement for them to continue and get their work finished. Is there a motion to approve the
I
extension?
will make a motion to approve the request from the steering committee to further their plan or get it done by September 30th, 23.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Who's laughing?
Amy,
All right, motion carries. Item 5, Town Hall Administration. Everyone's received this letter from the sanitary district regarding RV dump station. Lots to digest in this, and I've talked to Michael Kupta about it, and I think that what we would like to propose is to have a member of the town board and Michael Kupta meet with a member of the sanitary district board and Zach, and get a better understanding of how we can help solve this issue, because it's a community issue. So I don't know that we need a motion for us to delegate Michael and I to talk to the sanitary district folks, but is there a consensus that we do that? Okay. Next item, attachment A to the 2023 compensation resolution, 2022-1227. And we've already, these are positions we've approved before, we're just changing the compensation resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the compensation resolution number 2022-1227. Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next is a request for proposals for an HVAC service provider.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request for proposal for the HVAC contractor. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, vouchers.
I will make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $285,746.08.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
She didn't laugh.
See. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 7 minutes, public hearing of April 25th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the public hearing for April 25th, 2023, and the minutes for the regular town board meeting Tuesday, April 25th, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I forgot to put the public present on the regular town board meeting, do you want me to add them? There's 3 members of the public and I didn't list them at the top.
I think, sure, because we usually do. So they make the effort to show up, we should make the effort to acknowledge that they can. Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Emergency Services, Police Department, permission to decommission and sell the Ford Explorer Squad My understanding is we're gonna do that on the auction site, but we were so successful, but,
Yeah.
okay, is there a motion? To approve the decommissioning and the sale of the Ford Explorer squad car.
I'll make a motion to approve the decommissioning and the sale of Ford Explorers. Second?
Second, any discussion?
Yeah, why did it say that unless another town department was to use it?
Because that's what the policy says.
So does that play a part into this, or we just forget about that?
Or have we heard from, I guess the question would be, has there been any use for it?
I guess what I'm saying is, have the other departments, have they expressed no interest or
We've
some
not,
interest?
we've not put out a formal request of interest, for interest.
Do we need to if it's policy?
Yes, we would.
First you do that.
First, you need to decommission it and authorize it.
Oh, and then you can.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I'll make a post, the motion's already.
So the motion is sufficient, you believe, Michael, that if we approve the motion, you will first offer it to internal. All right, so any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment B, any public comment, John?
On the report from the Maxfield research,
Yes.
once again, they're comparing us to Ashland and Bayfield rather than picking another island. And the concerns that maybe their amount of housing is a little bit more than what the island can handle. And they also forgot a few of our businesses in their business list, which I think is unfortunate, because there are a few businesses that they did miss. And for the amount of money that the grants and stuff like that they got, I think maybe they took the easy way out about just asking, going to Bayfield and Washburn and Ashland, rather than, there's a whole bunch of islands that the town's associated with, to asking them about housing.
Thank you, John. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Regarding the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee under consider zoning modifications, I hope the town board isn't throwing the zoning ordinance away and building for so-called affordable housing at the cost of the zoning ordinance and everyone's peace and quiet.
Thank you, Paul. Any other public comment?
As the chair, just thanks very much for taking the time to look over the Maxfield research. It's pretty exciting. It's nice to have a place to begin and launch from, so thanks for being supportive in the process.
Well, thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, lawsuits and legal issues. Anything to report, Michael?
I've got my report, for basically, you've seen the briefs from the county and the town's attorneys to the DOR. The reply briefs are due on May 19th, and then it's pretty much a waiting game until July.
We're not holding banner.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Michael on any of that? Okay, new agenda items for future meetings?
You'll have a board review alternates resolution for me. Here's gonna be
Anything else? Thank you, Paul. And we do have, Michael Gupta's second anniversary coming up, which means that we have a performance evaluation that we need to start working on, and I will initiate that process with him, as we did last year, with a self-evaluation to begin with, and then we'll follow the same process that we did last year. But that's not really an agenda item, that's just why Any other agenda items? I will just say that before our next board meeting, the St. John's congregation is going to be considering calling I'm a new pastor. That Mark Pass has actually been very involved in the process, so we're very excited about that, and we know you have, do you want to say anything, Mark, about the candidating weekend? Or?
Sure. Thanks for bringing it up. So, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, our potential new pastor and his family will be here on the island to meet everybody. There will be, I believe, 2 o'clock at Lightkeepers Lodge on Saturday for a couple of hours, 2 to 4. He and his family will be there. He has, this is pretty darn exciting. He has 2 kids that aren't old enough yet to be part of the LaPointe School, but they will be. So, anyway, they will be there on Saturday for 2 to 4, after which there will be a community potluck in the church basement, and everybody's invited. Everybody understands that this all is under the purview of St. John's. We feel like it's pretty well recognized that the pastor on Madeline Island is definitely going to be an islander, and here for the island, not just people that are inside the church. And the intention is that can grow as much as people are willing to have. So that will go on Saturday, and then on Sunday, he will be in church, and he will be presiding over the service. And the way the process works with the United Church of Christ, which is the governing body of St. John's, after the service, then the members convene and vote to accept it. The search committee has unanimously, with big grins on our faces, recommended this candidate, and the church council has done the same. So this is the last step. It happens that this candidate feels like it was just meant to be.
Mark's not at all biased.
Can I ask a question?
Pardon?
Mark, you talked about this being a community hub. Like, I got it, because I'm a member of the church, so is there posters up or anything like at the post office letting the community know?
You know, I don't know that.
Okay.
But that will come up tomorrow at the church council meeting.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mark.
How many bedrooms is the parsonage?
The parsonage is enough.
Okay.
Just enough.
Just
It has been before my time that we had kids in the parsonage.
Well, I believe Evan Ralph was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, and Marinas too were there. They went to high school in Bayfield.
Evan's Jeff's son.
They were little
But
older.
like kids now.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
And we hope the community can be a show.
All right, well, thank you very much, Mark. Is there a motion to
I'll
adjourn?
make the motion we adjourn.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Yeah, Jeff.
Oh, the grandson.
Yeah.
Is the grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were the-
Yeah, they were the first ones to go
It's not like-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.